Hello, we are live. I am Jessica Weaver. We have Susan Pitang with us from the Quiet Zone Coaching. So grateful for you, Susan, to be here. She's a divorce coach, and what a perfect time with the holidays. This can be a very, very rough time for women going through a divorce or recently divorced, maybe the last year or so, and it's a different holiday this year because of
Mhm.
it. And I know I have a few new clients who are in the thick of going through the divorce. So I'm grateful to have you share with us some tools from your toolkit. I know you have an amazing free resource for the women watching us today
Mhm.
or watching this in the future since it's being recorded. So thank you, Susan. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. What do you see happening with women going through a divorce or maybe recently divorced with the holidays? What's
Oh,
going through their mind? The stress, I'm sure, is loading up on them.
oh yeah. Well, the holidays can be stressful anyway, just because you're talking about who are we going to go see, and where are we going to take the kids if you have kids. It could be stressful even if you're not getting a divorce. And of course, if you have anybody in your family who's dysfunctional, well, let's throw that into the mix too. Um, but when it comes to the process of getting divorced, and I say this about it all the time about getting divorced, is that bond that you have with your spouse. Okay, that is one of the most intense bonds that you can have with another human being. That person knows what you look like when you wake up in the morning, and they've seen you throwing up, they've seen you in the shower. They see you at your best and at your worst. And when that bond gets pulled apart, the result is a horrifying emotional roller coaster of very intense emotions. And it can be really hard to function on a day-to-day basis when everything that you know to be true about your life has now changed.
Yeah.
And that change is so stressful. Now let's throw in the holidays and the changes that come with that. So it's like, well, we always went to my parents on Christmas Eve and his parents on Christmas Day. Well, guess what? That's not happening
All the
this year.
time. Yeah.
Okay. What do you do? So what, I have a lot of things that I teach my clients about, negotiating. I have some blog posts on my website about negotiating with the ex for,
Mm.
who you have to co-parent now. This is something that's going to be going on, forever and ever. Amen. Even when those kids are grown. So you're going to have to learn how to communicate in a healthy way with them, even if they don't want to,
Mhm.
and to make your plans, be very precise about what you want and what you would like them to do in a kind and mutually supportive way, if you can. And then a big thing that I teach my clients for the holidays when they're getting divorced is to create your own traditions now. Um,
Yes.
yeah, this is something that's we don't always think about. When you're getting a divorce, we kind of focus on what happened to us,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
And that's past, that's gone. We can't change that. The only thing that we can do is focus on what's happening right now, okay, and moving forward.
Mhm.
So, okay, so no, you're not going to be able to do this, and this year because those things are now gone. But you are also not just planning your holiday, but you're also planning the rest of your life because your life is changing. So this is a really unique opportunity to hit the reset button. So
Yes.
what do you want your life to look like? This is now an opportunity, because if we look at mistakes as failures, or if we look at the marriage that's no longer there as a failure, it's not. This was a learning opportunity, and it taught you something. So now you're going to plan your life going forward and what you want that to look like.
Mm.
And you can start by planning what you want your holidays to look like, at least this year. And you can use it as training wheels. So,
That's
yeah.
a good, yeah, a fun let's do an experiment. I love that you said opportunity. To me, when I think of the holidays, there's a lot more pressure and expectations we set on ourselves to recreate the perfect Hallmark Christmas. And then I've seen we try to do it on steroids, especially when things aren't normal. So we want to go above and beyond in other ways. And when you're talking about ripping that bond, I just felt very vulnerable and insecure.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine feeling, very
Hmm.
vulnerable, insecure. Like I'm walking around naked, like who has my back now? Because the person I thought who had my back doesn't anymore.
Right.
So looking for people like you, like me, to become that advocate of, you are deserving of this. You
Yes.
aren't deserving of taking that person's crap anymore.
Yeah.
But navigating the different relationships too, because when you sit in that vulnerable spot for too long, I don't want to say the victim mentality, but it
Easy.
doesn't give you good mental health when you sit in that
Yeah.
for too long.
It's too easy to fall into the victim mode, which is really just a manipulation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a
That is so
manipulation.
true. Yes.
Right. Instead of having to do the hard work of, all right, how do I solve this problem? How do I make myself feel better? How can I move forward? It's much easier to sit back and say, I can't do anything because I'm the victim. It's a manipulation. And there, too, this is a Facebook Live. We don't have time to go into that whole thing right there. But it's so easy when you're in that space of vulnerability for your self-esteem and your self-confidence to go down the toilet. Okay. Because you feel like you failed. Okay. Even though it's just a learning opportunity, people come into our lives for a reason or a season.
Mhm.
And sometimes that season is a long season and sometimes it's not. So,
Yeah.
what positives can you take from that? We can feel paralyzed, we can feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, that's normal. That's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay.
That's reassuring.
Right. There's nothing wrong with
At some
anybody.
point, you are going to feel these, and it is okay. Let yourself
It-
feel them.
You're allowed.
Don't
Yes.
resist it. Right? What resists persists.
Right. It's not the
Move through
emotion
it.
or the situation
Mm.
that's the problem. Okay. You're allowed to feel this way. Okay. And you can tell yourself that's what I call a life mantra. I wanted to talk to you. We'll talk about that later about a class on the life mantras.
Ooh.
But one of them is I'm allowed to feel this way. Okay. You are allowed to feel this way. It's not the feeling that's the problem, it's what you do with it that
Mm.
is the problem. So you can cause yourself distress and anxiety and depression and despair if you don't, depending on what you do with that situation or that emotion. So, and that's one of the things that you were talking about, something free I have to offer, which is a class. I call it an emotional first aid kit, and that's exactly what it's
We all need
for.
that.
Yeah, it's an emotional, and it's not just, I mean, it is geared to women who are getting divorced, but anybody can use it. It's basic stress management techniques that anybody can use.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Oh, that's amazing. Yes.
yeah,
Well, we'll let everyone know where they can get that from
yeah.
Susan. Because even yesterday, I had one setback and block after another when it comes to work. And I got home and I was acting out more on my kids, yelling more. I'm like, you know what? Mommy needs a timeout. Like I needed
Hmm.
that toolkit of disengaging to
Hmm.
resetting myself. And I walked into the office today and everything worked itself out.
Yeah,
But I needed to take care of myself and fall back into alignment with what's been
right.
going on. But it's that awareness
Yeah. And not
is
only
such a
that,
big
but
step.
think about what you just taught your children. Okay. A
Mm.
ribbon of chaos is going to happen. That's what I call them, is ribbons of chaos. When you have a day like that where it just all
Yes,
hits the
that's
fan
such a
and it
beautiful
just
way of saying it. I was going to say when the shit hits the fan, but
well, I was trying
river
not,
of
trying
chaos.
not to say that, but that's exactly what it is. When it all hits the fan,
Yes.
okay, um, there are just going to be days like that. And that's
Yeah.
part of,
And especially with
unfortunately,
the
it's
holidays, we build up this miracle, this dream vision of what we want it to be, and then the Christmas tree doesn't come on time, or this gift and that, and your in-laws throw you a curveball, and you already are upset with the in-laws.
right, right. And that's what you have to do. But you've just taught your children that, yes, when you have this ribbon of chaos, we take a step back and we practice self-care.
Mhm.
Okay, that is, you are the
Oh,
role model for
yes.
your
Yeah.
kids. You just taught your kids that.
Mm.
Another thing is that we were talking before about, I guess I took us a little off topic. You're talking about that perfectionism that surrounds the holiday. And
Mhm.
you have to start thinking, what is an unrealistic expectation? Okay. Am I, is this really going to happen? One of the units in my course, in my regular coaching course, is about perfectionism and unrealistic expectations. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a gourmet meal. It just has to be dinner. Okay. That's all.
It
It doesn't,
counts.
right. It just has to be dinner. If it's cornflakes in a bowl, it is still dinner and you did it. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And the same thing
We
applies
all need to
to,
hear this. Yes.
yeah, this applies to the holidays. Okay. It doesn't, I mean, my husband and I were looking at each other this morning, like, should we put up decorations? We might or might not have my adult children over for Christmas Eve. We're still trying to decide where to do it. And it's like, well, even if I have them over, the idea is that not to create a picture perfect fairy tale land of decorations. It's I want to have my kids and my grandson over because I love them and I want to see them. Okay. It has nothing to do with decorations. Okay.
Yes.
So one of the big things about perfectionism is you want to focus in on what is it you're trying to do. Okay. What is the purpose of this? And the purpose of this is at the holidays, it's not to create this winter wonderland experience. It's to enjoy each other, to remember that it's Jesus's birthday. That's what we're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate how much we love each other,
Yes.
how much we appreciate God and our higher power.
Yes.
That's the purpose of the holiday. And you know what? Even if you're not Christian and it's a secular holiday for you, that's still the purpose, isn't it?
It's still love. It's
It's still
still
the
about
love.
being
Yeah,
around one another and having
right,
the energy. This is what I keep thinking of, the energy to be able to enjoy it. Because when we do all those things, we tend not to have the ability to be present and fully enjoy it. Or
right.
even leaving yourself room to do things on a whim. Just
Yeah,
throw up a
just
tree or
be spontaneous.
yeah,
Yeah.
throw the kids in the car. Let's go for a long drive to see the lights instead of planning everything out. That's more fun and less stressful. It's like,
Oh,
oh,
my
we
kids
gotta
were little. That's what we did every Christmas Eve. It was we would eat dinner, get in the car, and then like before that way, that was kind of a segue into let's get it ready for bed so that Santa Claus can come.
Mm,
But we would drive, and I mean, I would sometimes drive. I live on Long Island, so I would drive all over the island and find you see in the news reports like here's
yes.
this crazy house. Oh
Yeah.
my God, I got to go see that one, right?
Yeah.
And we would go look. Sometimes we'd get out of the car, sometimes we wouldn't. But the kids loved that. And that was that spontaneous thing. And speaking about kids, see, there's another lesson you're teaching your kids is that it's not about the picture perfect holiday. It's about how much I love you.
Yes.
And that's what the holidays are about, is the
It's
people
very
we
true.
love.
I love that point, Susan. I want to segue into also it's the end of the year.
Yeah.
So there's also this, it's exciting. We have the holidays, we have Christmas, and then a lot of times there's that hangover, that lull. You're like, it's over. And what do I have this year to show for myself, or what do I want this year to mean for my life? How do I want to change for the next year? So there is also the hangover, the dread, and the excitement. It's a whole bunch of different emotions probably
Hmm.
bottled up coming into the new year.
Hmm.
How can we put ourselves in a good mental place to
Oh,
go
there's a
through
couple.
that journey? Yeah, and
Yeah, there's
you
a
also not
couple.
set too high of expectations for the next year too. It's like, right, everybody going into, was it 2020? I'm gonna
Oh
do
my
this and
goodness.
this and this, and then the whole world laughed at us. I'll show
Yeah, and it's
you
just
what's
like,
gonna really happen.
yeah. Yeah, that's true. There's a couple of different things you can do. First of all, that post-holiday letdown, that is normal for everybody. Okay, whether you're going through a divorce or not, but it is particularly bad when you're in the middle of a separation, even a breakup, even if
For
it
sure.
wasn't a divorce, a legal divorce. First of all, pat yourself on the back and give yourself a huge round of applause for being a badass. Okay. I'm a badass because what did you do? Okay. I got through these
Ooh,
holidays in one piece. That's another
yeah.
life mantra. I got through the holidays in one piece. I'm a badass because I did this and I did this and I didn't lose my cool. And even if you didn't do the things that you had wanted to do, at least you tried. At least you
Yes.
thought about it. So you were a badass because you did that.
Mhm.
Give yourself also a round of applause and a huge pat on the back for being a battle tested warrior queen. Okay. If you can
Ooh,
survive what you have survived in the last year, you could get through anything. So remember that the next time that you are facing a challenge and it feels
yes.
insurmountable, if I got through that, I can get through anything. Okay.
Yes. I love
And
that. It's like David Goggins talks about the cookie jar. You
mhm,
stack all these struggles that you've accomplished and gone through, you stack them, and then when you're going through another hard time, you're like, I went through this divorce, I can deal with that.
I could
I
do
went
it.
through this
Yeah.
bully breakup, whatever. I
Hmm.
can get through that. That's a
Yeah.
great, great tip. I love
Yeah.
that.
And just, give yourself the unconditional love that you would give to a friend or a loved one. If you had a friend or a loved one who came to you and said, you know what, I really, I just feel so let down after the holidays, what would you say to them? And give that to you.
Yes. Be your
It
own
could be
best
taken.
friend.
Be your own best friend. The second
Mhm.
part of that is now looking forward. Okay. Now I'm a big,
Shifting. I feel like you're
yeah.
all about shifting perspectives because even looking at that, this was a horrible year, but I
Hmm.
made it out alive. It's like, look,
I
shift
was,
that perspective of now you can get through anything. Okay,
yeah,
now we're looking forward.
we're right. We're looking forward. I was talking to a friend yesterday about, COVID, okay, and how it impacted our businesses and what it did to us because it was completely unexpected, out of left field. Oh
Mm,
my gosh, people got sick and they died and it was horrible.
it's
Okay.
awesome. Mhm.
You know what? I'm sitting here wearing this nice blouse and I've got on my jammy pants and my slippers. That's something good that came out of COVID. Okay. So it's all about reframing. Okay. It's
Yeah.
turning it around. Yes, there are horrible things about divorce, but you know what? Now going forward, um, you want to start thinking, well, what do I want my life to look like? What plans? So yes, you could set goals, but don't take that whole big honking goal and let it hold it over your head. Like,
Mhm.
for example, when you are losing weight, okay, I want to lose 40 pounds, say,
Sure.
okay. And your New Year's resolution is, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. Well, do you say to yourself, I'm going to lose 40 pounds? No, you say, you know what? I'm going to lose 2 pounds this week.
Mhm.
Okay.
Chunking it
So
down.
right. So you break it down into manageable units. And then what you do is you schedule that into your life.
Yeah.
So for example, if your goal is I need to find another job that pays me more.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, what do you need to do that? Do you need to go back to school? Do you need to take some classes? Do you need just to send out some resumes and find another company? What has to happen to get to that goal?
Well,
Okay.
the causes.
Right.
We're so fixated on the effect, but there's a
Right.
cause before the effect.
Exactly. So there are steps that need to be taken. So maybe you need to go to a resume writer, or you need a career coach, or you
Yes.
need, right. So what are those steps? Break it down into manageable units. And if
Yeah,
you
and
have to,
specific, like maybe it's just calling the resume person.
right, that's all. Yeah, break it down as far as you have to in order to make it not overwhelming.
Yes.
Okay.
Love.
I'm a big believer in list making and planning.
Mhm.
So even though I'm all about mindfulness and staying in the moment, you can't be mindful and stay in the moment if you're worried about stuff that may or may not happen in the future. Or
I
what am I
agree.
going to do
Yes.
about this? So I'll give you a freebie here. I have this notebook. Okay. And in the beginning of the notebook, there's a table of contents. I have all the pages labeled. Um, and when I have a task, for example, here's Christmas list 2021, not very long, is it? Ugh, that's bad. That's my Christmas list. I have a workshop out in the back of my house and it needs to be cleaned out. So I'm starting to make a task list of what I have to do to
Oh,
accomplish that. In the beginning, I have where they all are in the book so I can find them right away.
oh
So if
my
if your
gosh.
goal is lose 40 pounds, so you can have one page for lose 40 pounds, what do you have to do to get there? Who do you
Yeah.
have to call? What do you have to do? So now that checklist is all on one piece of paper. It's broken down into manageable units and you could just pluck one out and say, today I'm going to do this. Okay. You could set time deadlines on yourself if you tend to be unmotivated. I mean, motivation is a whole other conversation.
Yes.
But have reasonable plans. And also have a plan A, have a plan B, have a plan C. So even though plan A doesn't work and plan B doesn't work, plan Q might work. Um, you know,
It's kind of I call moving with the flow. Because
yes,
a lot of time we're like
yes,
flowing against the current, hanging on to it, trying to control every aspect. But it might be God saying this is not the door. You think it's the door. It's not the door for you.
yeah.
Keep flowing along. I'm going to give you a much easier door to get to.
Yeah. And that's, that old saying about, when God closes the door, he always leaves a window open. And
Yes.
it's very true. Don't beat the dead horse. Just, find another that it's not meant to be. Yes, make efforts, you have to, there's some things that take effort, but you have to understand that we are not perfect. We are imperfect human beings. And we don't have to be perfect. That's part of the joys of life is the imperfection.
Yes.
What makes life interesting. So yes, make your plans, but be willing to adapt. And you know what? If you mess up, what did you learn from it? And that's the last. Yeah, that's important, because if something goes wrong or it doesn't happen the way you want it to, or you, God forbid, fail. Okay. Failure, take that out of your vocabulary. Okay.
Yes.
So something happened
It's a made
that,
up condition. We've made
mhm,
up that condition of failure.
yeah,
There really is no failures.
no, there aren't. There are
Just
learning
learning.
opportunities.
Yes.
Yeah. And view it as such. And there are ways to do that. So,
Yeah.
that's how you move forward past that horrible post-holiday yickiness. Yeah.
Those are great steps. Yeah, pause it, take out your notebooks as you're watching this, go through because it's something to look forward to and to have that energy, that momentum, excitement to carry you through into the new year is going to be huge. Because
Mhm.
how you start the year usually is how you're going to end the year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a
When you have
mindset.
those good vibes, that good energy going into it, it's going to make it a completely different year for you.
Mhm.
So
Well,
I
that's
love
it.
those steps, Susan. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm all about being mindful. Okay. Mindfulness plus gratitude plus positivity equals peace and happiness.
Yes.
But the Buddhist monk even still has to plant his garden. So you have to be prepared. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's part of being mindful is, to experience that when there's a time and a season for everything. So when it's time to
Mhm.
plan, you plan and then enjoy what's around you. Find something wonderful about this moment right now.
Oh, I love that. I love that. It's true. It's God's desire, but it's our decision.
Hmm.
We have to decide, and deciding is, putting it on the piece of paper. Yes, I do want this, and committing to getting things done. Consistency. That's something else. I kind of was like an undercurrent of you, that consistency coming through. But yes, you exude all those
Oh,
being
thank you.
great gratitude, the mindfulness. You have amazing energy about you, Susan. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for sharing all those amazing, amazing tips, especially
Awesome.
with the holidays, with the new year coming up.
Yeah.
Everyone can find Susan at thequietzonecoaching.com
Hmm.
and so many resources on that site. We've been sharing your blogs on our Instagram page at Pink Fix My Money. Fantastic content Susan has. And we'll also be popping this up onto our jessicaweaver.com website so people can watch it, especially with the holidays. This is really important stuff to
And
get in front of women.
if you want that free first aid kit, that first aid kit includes an instructional video, a worksheet, a divorce planning checklist.
Oh,
That's Yeah, it's not basic, but it's not fully comprehensive. But it's a good starting
sorry.
point if you're
Yes,
getting a
I love
divorce.
that.
And it also comes with a free divorce assessment with me. So it's a free session with me, and we'll talk about what's going on in your life and what you need to do to move forward and get past the overwhelm. So that free class you can get at thequietzonecoaching.com/first aid.
First aid. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Susan.
You bet.
We'll make sure to post that on the site as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Get this in front of women because everyone knows somebody going through a tough time right now, especially with the holidays. Get this video out in front of them. It's important for them to know that there is support. There is so much support out there for them, and we're thinking of them. But
Yeah.
wishing everybody happy holidays. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here. We'll
Thank you
get
for
your
having
information
me.
out to everybody. Remember, thequietzonecoaching.com/first aid. Grab the freebie, and we'll see you everybody soon. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.